All right. Question number 20. We are going to circle all of the equations below that have a slope of -3. Now, the first equation is in slope-intercept form. When it's in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, the m is next to the x. So that means 3 is the slope on the first equation, which means it's +3. So we don't want to choose the first one. The second equation is in point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The m is in front of the parentheses. That means our slope here is -3. So we are most definitely going to circle that equation. It has a slope of -3. This one has a slope of +3. Now, the next two equations are in standard form. Ax plus by equals c. When is it in standard form? Yes, we could put these in slope-intercept form. But when it's in standard form and we're just needing to identify the slope, it's easier for me to use that ratio of -a/b. So that means your a term is always in front of the x, your b term is always in front of the y. So that means our slope of this one is going to be -3/6. Negative and a negative become a positive. This is going back to that the formula has a negative value. So when you put it in the formula, it's always going to be opposite sign. Okay? So that means I have a slope of 1/2. So that one is not one that we should circle. Next one, that's going to be a slope of -6/2, which is -3. That has a slope of -3. Now, here's a trick that I'm going to tell you. If it is in standard form, it will have a negative slope unless the a or b are negative. So if the a or b are negative, you're going to have a positive slope. If the a and b are positive, you're going to have a negative slope. Okay? Everybody understand that? Now, 21, this is all we have to do. All of our answer choices are in point slope form. So I need to first identify my slope. And then I may or may not have to go further because all of these have different slopes, right? So since these all have different slopes, have a slope of 1, slope of 3, 2, -3. So if I determine my slope, then I can probably pick the right answer, right? Okay. So remind you, that's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I can pick any two of these points. Okay? I'm going to pick these 2 points because they're small, easy numbers to work with. That makes this my first point, this my second point. Be careful, even though the x is on top on the table, the x values need to be on the bottom when you do your rate of change. So that's going to be 2. Since that's -1, it becomes +1. And then 1 minus 0. That gives me 3 over 1, which is 3. So that gives me my answer B. Okay, number 22. The function g is linear. You're given g of -2 equals -9 and g of 1 equals 6. We want to find the slope and write in point slope form. Ladies and gentlemen, these are points. F of x is equal to y. That means that -9 is y. That means that -2 is x. That means that 1 is x. That 6 is y. So when we find our change in y, that's going to be 6 opposite, that's +9, and then 1 opposite +2. 6 plus 9 is 15. 1 plus 2 is 3. That's going to give me a slope of 3. Now, we can write this and use either point. I'm going to use this point because they're both positive. So that means when I put them in the formula, they're both going to be what? Negative. So the 6 is our y value, so that becomes -6. And the 1 is our x value, so that becomes x minus 1. Now, we're going to go ahead and graph. So I'm going to go ahead and pick these 2 points. So we're at the point -2, -9. I've got the point 1, 6. We know that our slope is 3. Oh, crap. I made that wrong. The slope is 5. 15 divided by 3 is 5. My bad. It's been a long day. I'm sorry. Hey, I make mistakes. I'm human. Okay, so that means I'm going to go rise of 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. Right 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right 1. Notice as I moved up through the slope, I'm going through all of those points that we asked. It's going through that point and that point, among others as well. You have a y-intercept of 0, 1. Any questions? How do you feel about that? All right, the last question, and I'm starring that question that we just did and this question. Both are super, super important. They will most definitely be on the test in a similar format. Okay, I'm going to put the first equation in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to move the 4x over. So that becomes 2y equals -4x plus 10. We're going to divide everything by the coefficient of y, which is 2. So we're going to divide everything by 2. So this equation becomes y equals -2x plus 5. We're going to go ahead and put this in slope-intercept form as well. So this is going to become y equals -1/2 x minus 6, and then that becomes -1. We're going to distribute that -1/2. That becomes y equals -1/2 x. Negative and a negative is a positive. Half of 6 is 3 minus 1. So that 3 minus 1 becomes 2. So slope-intercept of form of the line is -1/2 x plus 6. That is neither equation. That's neither the standard one or the point slope form. While they have the same slope, they have different y-intercepts. All right, the graph of the equation has a y-intercept of 5. We said this one has a y-intercept of 5, so that's that question. So the last thing we have to look at is whether or not we have an x equal a 0 and x is equal to -2. The easiest way to check that is to go ahead and use Desmos. So I'm going to open up Desmos. and I'm going to graph. We're going to graph y equals negative 2x plus 5. That has a y-intercept of positive 2.5, but not negative. All right, let's look at this one. That has a y-intercept of 4. So this one is also neither. Or not a y-intercept of 4, x-intercept of 4. So this one has an x-intercept of x is equal to 2.5, not negative 2.5. This has an x-intercept of 4. Does that make sense? All right, we have concluded the review for the test tomorrow.